Welcome back to my channel. I got a question from one of you. We'll call her Natalie. She said, "Hey Emily, I really enjoyed your YouTube channel. Thank you very much. And was hoping for some encouragement. I recently started talking to a guy and we went on a date. He loves the Lord and seems to be actively pursuing him. However, when we had the purity talk, I asked him if he was committed to not having sex before marriage, and he said no, because he doesn't see the difference between a long-term committed relationship and a marriage." First red flag. What's the difference between a long-term committed relationship and marriage? Vows. Vows, vows, vows. We've been over that before. I've always wanted a man who strives not only to love God, but to honor him with his body. A friend of mine said to me that it's going to be really hard to find a guy who's committed to a life of purity, and it got me wondering if maybe my expectations are too high. Second thing, your expectations are not too high. Yes, it is hard to find a guy who's living purity, but not impossible. Moving on. These are things that I wanted to get out of the way so I could get to what I actually wanted to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. She said, "I'm still conflicted because this guy told me if he met the right person, he would save sex for marriage. I'm conflicted because it's a choice he would be willing to make for the right person, but I don't know if that's enough." This is what I want to talk about today. One of the most important things to look for in a man that I have found for myself as a woman who wanted a God-centered marriage, a God-centered relationship, is conviction. It's not something that I feel like we talk about in looking for a man, but something that's so important. The definition of conviction is very simple. It is a firmly held belief or opinion. Now, let's get to Natalie's situation. This guy says, if I met the right woman, then I would save sex for marriage. Is there conviction in that statement? So I asked her, I said, is purity and respect of someone else's body something that should be conditional, i.e. based on one thing or another, or something that should be a constant? And she, in our conversation, she said, that is something that should be a constant, and that's something that I want to be a constant in the man that I would date and eventually marry. A guy like this, who I don't believe is a bad guy, but it's important to step back and look at these things when you are looking at dating in your life. A guy like this who says, if I met the right woman, then I would save sex for marriage. That is a choice in his life that is conditional. And I talked to Natalie about how in her life, she holds the conviction and the belief that sex should be saved for marriage. A, because it's what God asks of us. B, because she wants a man who pursues her in the proper way and who wants to respect her and honor her for many different reasons. That is a conviction that she holds. And that is something in her life that is a constant, that it's not conditional. And so we talked about that. I said, do you want a man who has that belief, who holds that belief with conviction as a constant in his life? A man who says, I want to wait till marriage, whether he's waited until that day or not, or he's made a change in his life, whatever that may be. I want to wait till marriage from this day forward with you in our dating relationship, in our engagement, because I want to honor you. And I want to protect you, and I want to pursue God with you, and I want to do what God asks of me because I believe in it. Step back and look at that with clear eyes, which we always try to talk about, to say, do I want a man who believes firmly in the same things that I do with conviction? Or do I want a man who's kind of flimsy about it and says like, oh yeah, maybe I'll make that choice, if I find the right person, or maybe I'll do this if this happens, or maybe that. That kind of man doesn't make for a great leader in a relationship. A man of conviction knows who he is, knows whose he is, and knows the ways in which he wants to lead you, and is confident in his pursuit of virtue, who holds his beliefs firmly, who is convicted, and who believes in things and knows why he believes in things. In my own dating experience, I wasn't like, only men of conviction allowed. But when I met Daniel, he had such conviction in his faith, and in purity, and in saving sex for marriage, and in just the lifestyle and the things that he chose and the moral compass that he had. And I didn't go out looking for that conviction, but when I saw it in Daniel, I was like, sheesh. Like, he believes in this stuff, and that is really attractive. That he's made these choices, and that nothing that he believes in his life is conditional. But these choices and the convictions that he holds are constant in his life. And I thought that's the kind of man that I would want to date and want to marry. A man with 2 feet on the ground who knows what he believes in, why he believes in it, and doesn't waver in that. That's the kind of guy, if you want a God-centered relationship, a relationship that is healthy and built on a solid foundation, that's the kind of man you want to be looking for. Looking for conviction. Something I never did, but man, when it came to me in the form of Daniel, it smacked me in the face and I was like, wow. Alrighty then. Natalie and I ended our conversation well. She said this is hard, and we both agreed that it's really hard to think about these things and talk about these things, but she said, I want a man who has these values as a constant in his life. The last thing I told Natalie that I want you to know is that asking yourself the hard questions in the beginning pays off so much. Step back, think critically, and keep your hearts up. That's all for today. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I have many more videos coming to you this spring that I'm just so excited about. So hit that subscribe button and I'll talk to you soon.